Welcome back, everybody. It's Screech here, and we got a Hero Hey react. Uh, Japan just destroyed for foreign invasion. Not too sure what this is going to be about, but I know Japan's kind of gone a little crazy lately with the whole like immigration thing. So I wonder if that has anything to do with that. Like all the foreign countries are going crazy with immigration, it seems. But let's see what Hero Hey's got to say and see what we can find out and learn today.
You might recall a video I made welcome back, guys. You might recall a video I made 6 days ago titled Japan Just Begun Ruthlessly Fighting Back.
I don't know if I watched that one of his, but I did. It was either Rev or him, and there was a girl who was like a young girl, basically protesting, like I hope she's alive. Um, Basically saying give our country back, get rid of the immigrants, those type of things. Not those exact words. It was rough translations, but like that's what I took away from it.
Why I said began like begun, but whatever, that's besides the point. More importantly, what was going on was a number of protests in Japan pushing back against, one, the nuisance tourists, which in my opinion is far too nice of a word for those people. I mean, they're much worse than just a nuisance, at least in my opinion. And two, also,
and we're not talking about like Johnny Somalis or the Pauls and stuff like that. But I mean, it's getting to that point. Like it's getting to that caliber.
Japan's increasingly open immigration policies, to which many people in Japan are not happy with, and that just got taken much further today. We'll get to that in just a second. First, a little more context on the protests. For example, this tweet had said, breaking massive protests are happening in Japan. Their demands: stricter migration, resignation of the Prime Minister Ishiba, abolishing the Department of Finance.
Of finance? Why would you know what? Maybe he's going to talk about it because like that sounds like a bad move to me.
Another video of the protests,
which seems pretty
right
peaceful.
Here. I'll skip forward a little bit and move right along. There was also the young Japanese lady, who many began to dub the Japanese schoolgirl, who spoke out at an anti-immigration protest, saying that she was concerned that Japan would become a more predatory nation if it kept these policies on immigration. Although her words were more explicit than that, as you can see there on screen. She also went on to criticize Prime Minister Ishiba for his policies on immigration, saying, give us our country back.
Like, I get people want to, like, help and, like, oh, other countries come here, whatever. But it's like, it's destroying cultures everywhere. Like, overall. Like, and it's not just, like, a specific group set of people going to all the countries and destroy. Like, no, like, you can have, like, America's original culture, which would technically be British culture, has been destroyed from the integration of other things, which that's not a bad thing. Like we've grown, you know, as people over that. But now you got situations like in Great Britain with, I believe it's the Indian migrants. I think they're Indian, but like they're shitting in the streets. They're poisoning their own water, and it's stuff they did in their own country. And that's, I would assume why they left. And now they're just doing it to other countries. And it's like, no, like GTFO, motherfucker. Like, there, it's okay to help, but like, I don't know, maybe put up a border town at the border where they got to stay until they can be like put into the system properly and be like, oh, okay, you're a citizen now and stuff like that. And if that's not what you want to do, then you have to go. That's me personally. Like, I'm all for like people from Belize, Argentina, stuff like that coming here. Like, if you're trying to like get away from the cartels and stuff like that, but we need something at the border where they can stay. And it's like, when I was in high school, I had a classmate who was undocumented. He joined the military because they offered him his citizenship. Like, there's always that option, you know, or be part of this program and we'll help you get through. Or you can just stay here, live, like work in the facility where you're being quote unquote kept. And that'll help you like, okay, you're a good worker, you're doing this, and we'll help you get you paperwork and all that stuff from there. But we can't just be like, oh, just and worry about it later and screw over the people who are actually of your country. Like, I'm not just talking about America, I'm talking about all countries. Scotland's going through a thing I saw, um, with the little girl and the knife, and like that was a whole fiasco. Now you got Japan. America's had its own issues. Uh, like, I'm hearing Canada's having issues now. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but like, red flag. Like, come on, guys.
Needless to say, her speech ended up getting a lot of traction online. Another reason for the protests was the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, and this initiative they created. Japanese cities dubbed hometowns. Officials have paired 4 African countries with a Japanese city, known under the plan as hometowns.
What?
They are Tanzania with Nagai in the northern prefecture of Yamagata, Nigeria with Kisarazu in Chiba Prefecture near Tokyo, Ghana with Sanjo in Niigata Prefecture, and Mozambique with Imbari in the western prefecture of Ehime. And so a lot of people in Japan found this to be extremely odd, and they questioned like why the JICA was even doing this, to which officials said the cities were chosen because of their existing ties with Africa. They say the plan is aimed at promoting even more exchanges and fostering people who can serve as bridges between Japan and the continent. But the announcement has sparked a flurry of online rumors that the aim is to accept immigrants from Africa. One Japanese social media post about the issue racked up more than 5 million views. Local governments in the 4 Japanese cities have since been flooded with inquiries from residents, fearing a sudden influx of people from abroad. Some even believe that they would be required to surrender their hometowns.
Okay, so this sounds like more of that bullshit, just come here and it is what it is. Like, is what people are afraid of and what is probably happening. But it also sounds like the thought process is kind of like the foreign exchange student program, which I'm all for. Like, you give me your kid and I'll send you mine, and they can both study abroad, learn about different cultures and stuff like that, or sponsoring people. Like, when was the last time you heard about sponsors? I haven't heard about a person being sponsored in forever.
Government officials responded with a message that arguably can be seen as rather contradictory. They said they've been explained to the people that JICA's plan is not an immigration drive, but an attempt to promote international exchanges and boost regional areas of Japan, which, again, many people just saw that as semantics, that it was indeed more or less an immigration drive. And that takes us here, a tweet saying Japanese protesting in front of JICA because of that African hometown fiasco. And there's not as much to see in this very brief clip. So, yeah, there you go. Point being, people were not happy. This clip actually shows a little bit more, so let's take a look at this one. Alright, thank you so much for your patience. That takes us to the immense news coming out of Japan today. Crazy stuff, as we have politician Zengo Kurishida reporting breaking news. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, the top political figure in Japan, has announced his intention to resign now. This will have a major impact on the issue of censorship in Japan. I'll explain the details later. Zengo Kurishida has been doing a great job speaking about issues of censorship, both in Japan and internationally as well, but we can see a different caption here from Eric Doherty saying, "Update, Japan's prime minister, who wants to import mass amounts of Africans into his country, has resigned." This, of course, is not the full story, as the Africa part specifically relates to the JICA and those hometowns that we went over. No, Ishida's policies are more broad than that. For example, there's also been a massive influx of Pakistani migrants coming over into Japan. And as we also...
Maybe it's Pakistani in the UK too. I just know there's a lot of pollution and shitting in the streets.
Over throughout this video already, this has been the cause of concern for many people in Japan, and they took to the streets to protest these policies, and many also demand that Ishiba step down. Now, indeed, we have his resignation. Unfortunately, Japan has also had a persistent issue with Prime Minister leadership ever since Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's resignation back in 2020, with Fumio Kishida assuming office shortly before Abe had his life taken from him, and concluding with Kishida resigning with a very low approval rating. Ishiba would take over as Prime Minister in October 2024, and now just shy of a year later, he's announcing his resignation, with Ishiba similarly also experiencing an extremely low approval rating. Now, as mentioned, many people demanded Ishiba's resignation. However, there is undoubtedly an air of uncertainty left in Japan now, with people wondering who's going to take his place. That takes us back over to Zenko Kurishita, where he says why we're worried about the next prime minister, and linking to another tweet he made expanding on these concerns. Going on to say, with Japan's prime minister announcing his resignation, the race for the next prime minister has already begun. Sanae Takaichi, a member of the House of Representatives and currently considered the leading candidate to become the country's first female prime minister, has previously stated, quote, games featuring brutal murder scenes, obscene comics, online life-taking and dating sites, and message boards filled with slander are clearly harmful to the healthy development of young
for
people
fuck's
and the
sake.
creation of a safe society, unquote. There were a few more sentences that I skipped regarding certain material that we're not really allowed to discuss here on the platform. I'm sure you understand. But Zenko Kurishita went on to say, she's responded negatively to pre-election surveys regarding legal regulation of content. While she has also spoken positively about strengthening the anime, manga industries, many people still have concerns about her understanding of freedom of expression and her underlying approach, which she sees as censorious.
You can't boost the anime manga scene and restrict that shit she was just talking about. That list he just said. It's not going to work.
Now, even her claims about wanting to strengthen the anime and manga industry can be seen as a negative, as we don't know exactly how she's defining strengthen. For example, unfortunately, we've seen a few Japanese politicians and even some higher-ups in the anime and manga industries stating that they want the medium to appeal to a more global audience. This is, of course, something that I've given my opinion on before, and I think it's a dire mistake for Japan to change the industry in an attempt to appeal more globally. What's made anime and manga so successful overseas is the unique factor that it has compared to Western comics and cartoons. People like that it's different.
Yep.
They enjoy the authentic stories that Japanese people have crafted and want to tell. Shifting their creative vision in a forced attempt to appeal more globally is something that, as mentioned, I view as a great mistake. To put it into business terms, the Japanese anime and manga industry has a unique competitive advantage, one that we've seen some Western companies even try to imitate, and in the case of Western live actions, like Netflix seems to enjoy doing, even desperately attempting to leech off highly successful Japanese intellectual property. So Japan should not try and remove their own competitive advantage. Just keep making anime and manga for the people of Japan, and then the authentic fans from overseas will gladly enjoy them too. Lastly, Zengo Kurishita would say the full race begins tomorrow, and we must keep an eye on these issues, including eliciting statements and actions that will dispel concerns about censorship. Voting will be conducted by lawmakers and supporters of the Liberal Democratic Party, the largest party, and is scheduled to take place in early October. It's also concerning
What
that
does that mean?
Sanae Takaichi's statements about violent games, the internet, and claims of protecting young people actually parrot similar rhetoric that we've seen from the likes of the UK's Office of Communications, or Ofcom, and their Online Safety Act. Also replicated similarly, of course, in the EU and Australia. However, on a more positive note, the people of Japan are making their voices louder each day, and it would be extremely unwise for the next prime minister to go against their will. But let me know what you think about all of this stuff in the comments, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed my coverage, and if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing. Helps out greatly. Appreciate you. See you in the comments and in the next one. Welcome back, guys.
Yeah, that was an accident. Yeah, quite simple. Don't do that. Like, don't censor, because that's gonna screw you over and get you in a lot of issues. I do think it's funny that it's parroting the UK and everything that's going on, and like the people who were the front runners are now in jail, I believe, for the very thing that they were trying to protect children from. I don't know how to word it and not get in trouble. That's the only reason why I said it that way. I think it's good that the people are starting to speak up for themselves in Japan, because like I heard it's kind of strict there on certain things. So I don't know. It's definitely going to get interesting, to say the least. Yeah. I am concerned for the future. I will say that. But with that, please give Hirohei some love. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Link will be in the description below. Bye-bye.